All right, folks, today in Tennessee, lawmakers they held a public hearing to discuss if they're going to vacate and restructure Tennessee State University's Board of Trustees and hire new administrators. This after a scathing report from the state comptroller complaining about various issues at the university. Now, the State Senate Ad Hoc Committee, they met last Thursday with 200 TSU alums, students, and parents providing pushback to an audit by the Tennessee Comptroller, Jason Munpower. Munpower accused the university of being unprepared to handle the sudden influx of students causing a housing crisis. Lawmakers tasked the Comptroller's office with examining the spike in enrollment after several students and parents filed complaints with the state. Joining us now is Tennessee State Representative Vincent Dixie. He joins us right now. Representative Dixie, glad to have you here. So, okay, today's hearing, was that an open forum? Was it broadcast? Were people able to actually see it? And what took place?
Yes, it was an open forum. So it was a regular committee meeting that we had. People were able to sign up, and we had 6 speakers from the community that spoke, and they spoke very well and very highly and very supportive of Tennessee State University. So basically, at the end of the day, what happened, they recommended to the full committee that the sunset hearing be set out for a year. They laid out some parameters, which TSU agreed to, make the majority agree to the majority of them, what was going on. So we have some issues that we can work out. We have some goals to move toward, but I think the heavy lifting is just about done. We have one more meeting to go through, and then we should be able to fulfill the mission of educating Black students going forward.
All right, so they complained they were not ready for the influx, but let's also be honest. The issue is that Tennessee State was owed $500 million from the state. They've only gotten $250 million. When a lawmaker is going to give the other $250 million so they can do their job?
Well, first, I want to back up. I want to just be clear. The first $250 million have not been received yet. It has not been received yet. So this is kind of where it kind of gets interesting for me, is that TSU received an audit last year, and it came through just regular mundane findings that you would find in any university audit. And it was fine. They had the recommendations. It was okay. It really didn't become an issue until Dr. Glover started requesting this money, and they had some prerequisites in order for us to get this money. Dr. Glover balked a little bit because she didn't think that was fair. And then that's when this review came into play. And I find it suspicious. I find it suspect that we did at this time. But I hope that what this community learned, and I hope people across the nation learn, that when you step up and advocate and people show up, this is the outcome that you get. You can impact the outcome. And that's what we did, and we did it in a positive manner.
Well, you can impact the outcome, but the reality is it shouldn't have come to that. And not only that, lawmakers previously questioned Tennessee State for why all of a sudden these Black students are going there and not other state universities. It is if all of a sudden, by asking for the money and having a dramatic increase in enrollment, that TSU has a bullseye on its back.
Well, anytime you excel, you know this better than I do. Anytime you excel, you put a target on your back. And that's exactly what happened. When you start to exhibit excellence, you become a target for other people. And, we have to cross our T's and dot our I's and do everything twice as better than anybody else in this world. This is just, we shouldn't have never been here to begin with. This was egregious. It was heavy-handed at best. And we should have never been here. When you look at the optics of it, it appears that now that you increase the scholarship money, which the state didn't increase add one penny to it, that it was all accumulated by Dr. Glover and TSU's efforts. Now it went from $6 million to $28 million. The optics says, oh, it's a problem. Now we want to educate more Black students. That's the problem now. So it looks suspect at best.
Okay, so what is next? Because I'm getting calls from different people who are saying that that they still are concerned that these white officials, these white Republicans in Tennessee, are going to try to make a move against Tennessee State.
So the next step in this procedure is next Monday. I think at 1:30 they have what's called the Government Operations Committee. It meets, and this committee that met today made the recommendation, and hopefully their Government Operations Committee will follow that recommendation, and it'll still give Tennessee State a year in order to input what they said they would input in order to make the university run a little bit smoother going forward for this next year. And then that should be the end of it for at least one more year.
Yeah, but I mean, I get that. But what this does is it sort of puts Tennessee State on this sort of like shot clock, if you will. And again, they're trying to make do with little. And I guarantee you, University of Tennessee, they're not having these funding problems.
No. Not at all. And again, when you look at the $544 million that was owed to Tennessee State University over these years, imagine where we would be right now. Imagine all the research that could have been done. We have already went from a research level 2 to a research 1, and that's the highest level that you can get in a research facility. And it comes with millions of dollars of grants. We did that with no support from the state. And it's amazing what TSU has done so far. So you're right. It's time for Tennessee to pay up and not put strings attached to this money, and let us govern ourselves the way that we know how to govern ourselves and know how to achieve excellence, because that's what we do. Tennessee is about excellence.
All right, Representative Dixie, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you for having me.
All right, my panel, Dr. Julian Malveaux, Dean of College of Ethnic Studies, California State University, L.A., President, Emerita Bennett College, Dr. Omokongo Dabinga, Senior Professorial Lecturer, School of International Service, American University, Renee Shannon, Georgia State Representative. Glad to have all three of you here. So, Julian, I'll start with you. As the representative said there, quite mysterious. All of a sudden, let's now examine the administration and the finances of Tennessee State when they decide to say, where's our $500 million?
Exactly. I mean, this is just nonsense. Glenda Glover, Dr. Glover, the president, has been doing an excellent job as president of TSU. And as the young man said, the representative said, taken from a research 2 to a research 1 qualifies you for all kinds of federal funds that you might not ordinarily get. So she's been successful. What it is we know what it is. Let's go back to Reconstruction. As soon as Black people become successful, white people become envious, nasty, and snatching away. So what's going to happen, unfortunately, Roland, is that imposing all these audit conditions is going to take effort away from the real work that needs to be done at TSU and at any other college. And you know what cracked me up? I glanced at the report. I didn't read the whole thing. What cracked me up, so people are upset because there's not enough dormitory space. Hey, that's a victory. If there's not enough dorm space, that means that enrollment has exceeded expectations. But beyond that, tell me another university that hasn't had dorm space issues in the past decade. Even some of our elites, PWI elites, have had to put students in hotels and do things like that. So it's just a double standard, and it's nonsensical. And I hope that the brother who spoke, the representative, stands strong for TSU, because it's worth saving. Black colleges have been attacked this way, that way, and the other way, and it's got to stop.
Omokongo?
You know, I think that this is indicative of a representative of a greater problem. And we're seeing with this cultural backlash on anything relating to Black studies, we talk about it with Ron DeSantis in Florida. These politicians and these leaders and these board, they're looking at every single way possible to try to target what we're doing, because they also notice that more and more students are enrolling in HBCUs than ever before than in a very long time, because of the way the racial climate is going in this country. Parents are seeing the backlash that's happening towards their kids' education. Kids are seeing what's happening as well, and they are retreating to spaces that they see are safe. And to be quite honest, Roland, and you know this better than anybody, the way the stories are painted out there about what's happening there, they're painting it as a story primarily of mismanagement. At the bottom of one article I was reading, it mentioned mention the fact that TSU never got the money that it was promised after talking about all of these other issues that are happening at the university and making it look like it's the fault of the leadership. And so the average person will see that and just be like, oh, another black university, they don't know how to handle their students. And so it's really important that we got the Black Star Network here to really point out what's actually going on. We're seeing this on the university level. We're seeing it with places like Jackson, Mississippi. They're looking for ways to come into black spaces and black leadership and just take over. And we have to continue to fight and continue to expose this for the sake of our students and for the sake of all of the places that we are attempting to create to be safe for black people, especially black children.
You always got to follow the money, Renita.
Absolutely. And I agree with Dr. Malveaux. Other PWI universities have had issues with dorm problems, and this has gone back for a really long time. I remember being at the University of Florida in around the year 2000, and there were dorm issues. So that is not something that is unique to HBCUs. But I really hope that the black representatives in Tennessee know what time it is, because I don't think that this HBCU is being targeted just because it is excellent. There is a history, especially in states that are under Republican control, conservative control, of them going after things that are very profitable that black people have built. Things that they just want to take control of. There is a history of them doing this. So you look right here in Georgia, we have had attempts for the Republicans to try to take over our Atlanta airport, which has produced more black millionaires and has been really a big source for black people to grow wealth here in the state. They have consistently tried to take over the airport. We've seen attempts from Republicans to try to take over the voting efforts in Fulton County, the election boards. So any way you slice it, when black people are having full control of something, it is often that we see that these legislatures that are Republican control, essentially being controlled by almost all white men, you see that they want to come in and take over what is black and control it. So I hope they're being smart about what is really happening.
All right, folks, hold tight 1 second. I got to go to a break. We'll be back right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. YouTube, folks, hit that like button. Same on Facebook.